Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or Hobbit's Reading List, and today we are going to figure out what I'm going to read in May. In April, I read all but one of the books that was on my April TBR, and I will go ahead and finish up that last book because I do need to read it. So we'll probably get like a little bit of a late start, except for like audiobooks. We'll get an early start on that. But today is April 29th. I'm very eager to see what I will be reading. I don't have a consequence book because I only, didn't read one book. But if this is your first time watching my TBR Pursuit video, I use the Lord of the Rings Trivia Pursuit board, and each color represents a different genre, which is one of the 6 most popular genres on my physical shelves. Those 6 genres are classic, romance, LGBT, Jewish, psychology, and fantasy. And I'll explain, as I land on colors, which ones those are. But the other thing to know is that the bigger spots at the end of this book are miscellaneous, no matter what color they are, to account for all the other books in my collection, because sometimes no one just sticks to 6 genres, right? We're eclectic, we like different things. And then I also have the purple spots, which are the roll again spots, and those add a book to my TBR. So, as I mentioned, I don't have any consequence books, which usually happens if I don't finish 3 or more books on my TBR. Thankfully I didn't have that issue. But I have no theme or anything for May. I have 2 books that I have to read for the Wodehouse podcast I do with my dad, which is linked in the description, and the book club that I run through my temple. But other than that, it's a free-for-all, and I'm really excited to see what I'm going to end up reading, because I honestly have no idea. So I'm going to get set up, and then let's see what my prompts are. So the 2 books that I need are in the romance or classic genres. So I'm probably going to aim for those. Well, let's just see what the number is, and then I'll kind of decide. I'm leaning more romance just to get it, but 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Okay. I don't know. I'm feeling yellow, so not that it matters, but there we go. So, miscellaneous book. Alright. I've never rolled a 6 on the first roll. Oh, okay. I was confused. So, it says art. Not that you can really tell. My handwriting really blended together on that one. It kind of looks like it says APT. But it says art. So I was trying to figure out, what does that mean? But I think it's just anything that Storygraph considers as being in the art genre. So I will do a search for that. For my first book, which is art, I only have 4 options. I just don't have that many books on art. And the books that I do have are mainly about architecture. So I picked up Antiquity in Gotham, which is about the architecture in New York City, and how some of the most iconic buildings are based in antique architecture, and so it goes into the historical styles that the buildings use. And I also picked this up when I was in New York, and so I was in a very New York state of mind. But I think it'll be really interesting to read about. For the second roll, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just roll again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just roll again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which is fantasy. I don't really want to add a book right at this moment, so I will go ahead and do fantasy. Oh, sweet. Okay, it's a fantasy with the best cover. I have a feeling what book I'm going to put in here. Alright, let's get maybe a lower number. 3, okay. 1, 2, 3, which is LGBT. Or, let me see, 1, 2, 3. So any genre in the second. So that'd be fantasy, romance, LGBT, psychology, Jewish. Interesting. Well, I wanted either romance or classic. Oh, I made a boo-boo. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and say I went over here. This is actually fantasy. This one, this is orange. I don't know if you can really tell that. That's supposed to be romance. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw a romance book. It's supposed to be like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Okay. First in a series. Okay. So, ignoring my little snafu where I messed up completely the colors. So, for romance, which was my true second role, I got the first in a series. So I went ahead and picked up Bloom, which is by Kevin Panetta and Suzanna Ganucheau, maybe? But it follows, I got this book recently, and it follows this guy named Ari. He is graduating high school, and he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he knows that he doesn't want to work in his father's bakery. And so as he's preparing to, go and find himself, they need to hire a replacement, and that is where Hector comes in. He loves baking, and he's kind of adorable, and Ari can't get enough. And so it looks super cute. It's very like blue tinged, which I kind of really like. But this has been on my wish list for a really long time, and I finally went ahead and bought it recently. And I'm really looking forward to it because it looks so cute, and it looks so beachy, and yeah, I don't know. I'm excited. And then also, for a fantasy book that has the best cover, because I messed up, I picked up Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Now, I've never read Cassandra Clare. I don't really read a lot of the big popular authors, not because I think that there's anything against them. I just have this thought in my head, and I call it the Casablanca effect, because I've been told my entire life that Casablanca is such a great movie and a masterpiece, and it's so amazing, and I finally watched it when I was 19. I was like, okay, it was fine. And so I'm always concerned with authors who are really hyped that I'm gonna read it and jump on the bandwagon and then just be slightly disappointed because I just think it's fine, or I don't like it. But this particular book, this particular series, was recommended by my friend Amy, who has previously yelled at me for taking over a year to read the recommendation, and then I loved it, which was Water for Elephants in, I believe, February, if you want to check that vlog out. But I'm like, okay, I will not wait a year or more for their recommendations. They have not been wrong so far. They've recommended me 2 books, and I gave both of them 5 stars. No, I didn't give Water for Elephants 5 stars. Okay, I gave both of them at least 4 stars. So, I trust them. This is a fantasy book about, it's sort of, I don't even know if star-crossed love is the kind of thing. I don't even know if the romance is the main thing. I don't think it is. But essentially, there is this boy, he is he stolen? Yeah, he's stolen from the life that he knew to become the sword catcher, which is essentially a body double for the prince. And so he knows that his main purpose in life is to die for the prince, who he considers like a brother. And there is also a girl named Lynn who is part of a group that have magic, and they're very few, and they're outside of the city, but she leaves in order to tend to the sick out there. And then something happens where they end up being pushed together. I think there's a romance between the 2 of them, but I really think that's a very much a subplot. I don't think that's the main point. But it says, they are drawn into the web of the mysterious rag picker king, the criminal ruler of the city's underworld, who offers them each what they want most. But as the 2 descend into his world of intrigue and shadow, they discover a conspiracy of corruption that reaches from the darkest gutters to the highest tower of its palaces. As long-kept secrets begin to unravel, they must ask themselves, is knowledge worth the price of betrayal? Can forbidden love bring down a kingdom? And will their discoveries plunge their nation into war and the world into chaos? So, very intriguing. It's been a while since I've read, like, I don't know if I consider this epic fantasy, but it's close. Like, it seems like there's a lot of world building. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Alright, for the fourth book... For the fourth book. Okay, classic. Great. Ah, hell. It's an audiobook. Well, I guess this doesn't mean that I have to listen to it on audio. So, okay. That might still work. For a classic that is an audiobook, this classic is available on audiobook. And if it wasn't Wodehouse, I would listen to it on audiobook. But it is Wodehouse. So, but counts. So, I will be reading Summer Lightning, which is part of the Blanding's Castle series, for the podcast. I do not know what it's about. I'm pretty sure it's the first appearance of... Oh, I don't know her name. Of the pig. There's a pig. A pet pig. I don't know her name, but I'm pretty sure it's the first appearance of her. Maybe? It might be in my big old tome of Blanding's Castle back here. Maybe. But, I put the thing up. So, it's Wodehouse. It'll probably be funny. I do enjoy Blanding's Castle a lot. So, yeah. For the fifth book... Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just roll again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just roll again. 2, 3, or once again, the second spot in the spokes. I'm going to go ahead and go over here to romance because I don't think the book that I need to read fits in that prompt. I don't think it fits in this one either. Adapted or will be to screen. For a romance that is adapted to screen, this was actually very hard to find. Apparently, the books that I have on my romance TBR are not destined to be seen on screen anytime soon. So, I had to go with pretty much the two classics that were considered romance. So I picked up Wuthering Heights. I have not read this, but it is about... If someone else has also not read it, is about this woman named Kathy, I guess. She is raised alongside her, I guess, foster brother, who her father took in, Heathcliff. But after the death of Kathy's father, Heathcliff is sort of like mercilessly bullied, and he ends up leaving and then coming back, like, I thought it said 20 years, but it says 2 generations. So Heathcliff ends up coming back later as, like, a polished, gentleman, essentially. And he has a plan for revenge. So the blurb that I read is very different from the blurb on the back of this book. So I'm very curious, but I am almost positive there is not a happy ending. Which kind of sucks, but, that's where we are. Alright, we're getting to the point where I might just have to add another book. 1, 2, 3, so 6th roll. Dang it! There. 1, 2, 3, 4, just miscellaneous. 1, 2, 3, 4, or the... Alright, I'm gonna get away from the spokes. They're not as fun. We'll do miscellaneous again. Okay. A horror book. Alright. That's nice and seasonal for May. For a horror book, look, I got some books recently, in the past, 3 weeks, and I just really want to read them. I feel kind of bad, because there's, what? Okay, well, only 2. Only 2 of the books, 3, I guess, technically. 3 of the books on this TBR are books that I've bought in the last month. But I bought them for a reason, and that reason is that I really want to read them. So I'm going to read the Uncensored portrait of Dorian Gray. I keep wanting to say The Portrait of Oscar Wilde. I'm positive I did that in the vlog where I talked about getting this book. So look for the video that has the like mini gay book haul or something, and I think I say like literally Portrait of Oscar Wilde. But this is the uncensored version, which means that it includes LGBT material that was originally taken out by the publisher because, what did it say? Who feared it would prove offensive to readers. So I have read Dorian Gray, but I've always felt that it was a little bit gay because it's Oscar Wilde. And when I saw this in the bookstore, I was like, oh yeah, I need to have that confirmed. I know it's there, but I need it, like, explicit. So, this may be our last roll unless I get a roll again. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's just go ahead. So, 2 more books. Or 1 more book, but 2 more rolls. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. LGBT. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fantasy. 1, 2, 5, 6. Classic. I have classic. So, you know what? Let's go LGBT, because that's my favorite, and I haven't actually landed on it yet. It's an audiobook. Perfect. Alright, for LGBT audiobook. This is perfect. If you've seen my recent vlogs, you will know that I have been listening to the Green Creek series by TJ Klune. And I had previously read the first book, and in April I listened to the second and third book, and so obviously I want to finish the series. And I had made a comment like earlier this week that even though the new edition of Brothersong wasn't coming out till like the end of June, I was going to go ahead and add it to my TBR because I knew that I would buy the book on the off chance that it came up on my TBR game and I could listen to it before then. So guess what happened? I swear to God, I do not rig this game, but I'm very happy when the fates smile upon me and I can actually finish the series because I don't remember the last time that happened. So I will be listening to Brothersong probably starting May 1st. Brothersong is the conclusion of the Green Creek series, and so I can't really go into a lot of it without giving away spoilers for the other books, but it is focusing on Carter's perspective, who is the oldest brother of the Bennett brothers, and he is... how to describe without spoilers? He's searching for his mate. There you go. That's what you get. I'm really excited, so make sure to check out my future vlogs to see what I thought. Last roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Jewish. 2, 3, 4, 5. LGBT. Or roll again. Let's go ahead and go Jewish, because I haven't gotten any. And actually, the other book that I need is Jewish, so... okay. My lowest rated Jewish book. That's great. And then for the last book for my TBR Pursuit, I got Jewish book that is the lowest rated. This wasn't horribly rated on Goodreads. Unfortunately, Storygraph doesn't let me sort books by rating. Or, I think it does actually, but unless a book is like Jewish, like nonfiction about Judaism, it doesn't classify a lot of fiction books as Jewish, but I have a lot of fiction books that are Jewish. In short, I had to create a particular list on Goodreads, and so I had to go by the Goodreads rating. But I think this was only like a 3.4, so it's not awful. However, I feel like it's a little dated. I don't know if you can tell just like how kind of like beat up this book is. Oh, there's some sun damage. When did this come out? Alright, the first printing was in 1962. The fourth printing was in 1968. Okay, the copyright for this one is 1961? I don't... It's from the 60s. I don't know if this particular book is from the 60s, but I believe it, if it was. So, I'm just going to read you what's on the front. An extensive selection of Jewish writings organized with introductions and interpretations to form a coherent and meaningful account of the Jewish religion and to show the integrity of the Jewish spirit through the centuries. Interesting. So this is part of a series. It's part of a new 6-volume, new at the time, 6-volume series, Great Religions of Modern Man. Which makes sense because when I actually was looking for the copyright, it has a list of the other, I don't know if you can, there you go. It has a list of the other books in the series. So, I'll be really curious to see what this is like. I'm a little nervous, but that's okay. What's the... Oh, interesting. I've never seen that spelled that way. So I was just flipping through. Now I'm even more nervous. So I was flipping through, and I saw this. Give it a second to focus. And I was like, I have never seen that term before. It's an alternate spelling of Shavuot, which I am used to having a V in it, not a B, and not an H. This is going to be so interesting. Okay, so those are the books for my, oh boy. I'll be really curious about that one. So those are my books for my May TBR. I do have one more book because I couldn't fit my Temple Book Club book into the prompts that I got, no matter how hard I tried. So I will be reading Mr. Perfect on Paper by Jean Meltzer. I have previously read The Matzo Ball. Is that right? Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. I know this one is about a woman, Dara, who is the founder and owner of a Jewish dating app, and she has a list of the criteria of her perfect man. And she ends up meeting someone she goes on to an interview, and the news anchor, Chris, proposes that they turn Dara's search into her perfect man into must-see TV. And so Dara and Chris end up becoming closer, even though Chris is like the exact opposite of her list of her perfect husband. So this will be really interesting. I selected it for the book club because we hadn't had a romance in a minute. When was the last romance we had? I know we read... I think it's been over a year since we've read a romance for my Temple Book Club. So I picked that. I am curious to see how many people will show up. Maybe this is a sign I should... maybe it's a sign I shouldn't assign romances, but I think they're fun. So those are all the books. Let me know if you have read any of these or want to read any of these, if you have thoughts on any of them. I'm actually really excited about the mix of books that I have. I don't know how this is going to be. So leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. But otherwise, like the video, subscribe, click notification bell, all that stuff, especially so that you don't miss my vlogs, so that you can see my thoughts on the books in real time. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!